Hey everyone, it's Pastor James here with the Practice Minute. Every week we kind of try to give you a practice, a soul training habit, a spiritual exercise that goes with the sermon that'll help you kind of develop in your life in Christ. So the one I suggested at the end of the sermon this past week was margin. I just want to read you a quote about margin, and then I want to reinforce the three things that I suggested in the sermon. So there's a guy named Dr. Richard Swenson, and he's talking about margin and being marginless. Here's his quote. "The conditions of modern day living devour margin. Marginless is being 30 minutes late at the doctor's office because you were 20 minutes late at the hairdresser's, because you were 10 minutes late dropping off the kids, because your car ran out of gas 2 blocks from the gas station and you forgot your purse. Margin," he says, on the other hand, is having breath left at the top of the staircase, money left at the end of the month, and sanity left at the end of adolescence. It's interesting, I think all of us can identify when the space on the page is full, there's no room to invite anything else in. Margin, in the same way spiritually, if you've got your life so crammed full of things that you don't have room to invite God in, you're experiencing what we call marginlessness. The three activities I suggested, and I really would encourage you to try one of them out this week. The first one was, take some time just to be with God, 10 minutes a day. And some people have asked me even since, well, what do you mean spend 10 minutes with God? I mean, try to sit down at the beginning of the day, or if you're an evening person at the end of the day, try to sit down and just sit in God's presence. Then somebody might say, well, what am I supposed to do during that time? I want you to try to just sit in the presence of God. You can listen. You don't have to speak. If you need to focus, it might help to read a psalm. If it helps you to close your eyes and just imagine Jesus being present with you, and you can sit in His presence with Him, the way you would sit with your very best friend's presence in the room with you, then do that. But that's what I'd like you to try. So that's the first suggestion. Spend 10 minutes a day just in the presence of God. It's not easy. I know your mind will wander, but just give it a try. A second thing is limit your time on TV and social media. I just named those two. It may be something else that's eating up your time, but a lot of us get addicted to just sitting down with the newest streaming service and binge watching, we call it, a whole series of something, which could be, every episode could be 40 minutes. There might be 10 episodes, and before long, you've blown through 400 minutes. I want you to just think about surrendering some of the time that you have on TV or in social media, on your phone, on your computer, and just give that time back to God. Use it for building relationships with God or with others, and just see if it doesn't give you a certain buoyancy, knowing you have a bit of time back in your life. And then the third option was that you could just learn how to say no. I know that's fairly broad, but learning how to say no to the right things, the things that you shouldn't be saying yes to, and saying yes to the right things, the things you should say yes to. That's really important. So I really encourage you to try one of those three things this week. And I think you'll find that as you practice that, you're given back some time, some space, so that God can be with you and you can be with God.